All right, we got some more stuff. This time it was emergency roadside assistance stuff. So it's an 05 Pathfinder. He was in the parking lot and he was backing out of a parking spot. He put it into reverse. It went into reverse fine. He backed out, went to put it in drive, and it didn't do anything. It stayed in reverse. So the shifter is free moving inside, but it wasn't actually pulling the shift cable. It wasn't changing the transmission gear selector. So crawl underneath the thing, had them row it back and forth, and you could see that the cable just wasn't moving. So the transmission itself was fine, but the cable between the shifter and the transmission somewhere is broken or popped off. So I was able to crawl underneath, put it into park so we could start it again, and then put it back into gear, and then crawl out from underneath there, and then they were able to drive it back here since you really only need it to be in drive for that anyway. So now we got to figure out what's going on with this cable. I looked on YouTube and I found a couple, let's be honest, really terrible videos that were painful to watch. So I'm gonna hopefully give you guys one that's less painful. So here's how to dig into this thing and troubleshoot and fix your shifter linkage on a 2005-ish Nissan Pathfinder. All right, so when we had the key on, this thing would free shift and move through all the gears, but it's not pulling the cable underneath. And I can tell the cable's connected at the transmission because I crawled under there and I could physically see it. So my guess is it's disconnected somewhere right up here by the shifter. So we're gonna try and take apart this center console. So this piece just pops right off. It's just got some little clips, easy enough. And this is the fun part where you get, you know, what, 19 years, well, it's 2025 now. So 20 years of all the gunk, grime, soda that gets spilled and all that ends up underneath here. So everything's nice and disgusting and sticky and gross. But I mean, all the stickiness helps hold it together, you know. So we're gonna dig through here, try and pop this thing out. We're gonna have to throw the shifter back to get it to clear. Pulling that's not actually gonna take it out of park anyway. Wiggle it, you're gonna have a couple, let's see if we can turn this so you can see it, a couple connections down here. So this other one, we're just gonna get the screwdriver right here, push that tab, and boom, pop that out. This can move off to the side. And then, so we can stop that horrible, annoying beeping sound, let's throw it back in park. Take the key out for a second, and let's get in here and take a look-see and see what we got going on. At this point in the process, it's very important to lubricate yourself. And then we need to take this little decorative cover off because it's covering, I believe, right under here is where the shift cable connects. And it looks like it's just got these little plastic catches, so we're going to carefully lift up on both sides. There we go. Okay, so now, shining the top, see this right here? That little nub, as it moves, that's connected to the shifter. So this nub should have the cable on it. But it doesn't, because the cable is right here. You can kind of see that white sheathing on it. It runs to here, and it's just a dangling underneath here. All right, so to get the cable slacked enough to try and push it back on here, we need to take off, there's a little pin, kind of like, can you see it down in here? It's similar to how like the brake lines get held onto the frame on your underneath on the truck, on like the calipers and stuff. It's got one of these little metal retaining clips, so we're gonna get a pair of pliers down on it. Ooh, right away. Pop it out. So it's just like a spring clip. So spring clip comes out, and then the shift cable at that point should just lift out of this little socket that it's in. And that's what we're after, is this guy. So as you can see, it would go on that nub with a little rubber bushing in it. But the rubber bushing is just not there. It's probably in a million pieces down on the bottom of this transmission tunnel. So I need to see if I can find some kind of bushing, make something that'll pop and press this on here, at least temporarily, until we can order and get the right piece. So I would suggest buying the right part, which I'll put the link to in the description of the video, for that grommet, but we're in a pinch and we're trying to get it going today. So I have this, which is a wiper linkage bushing assortment kit from the help section. And it's a bunch of different size bushings and grommets. But this one right here, that was in this pack, actually fits on that stem and seems to fit pretty well into that shifter cable, except for this little nub on the side. So we're going to shave that off with a razor blade and try and get this guy in there and at least temporarily get this thing going until the new part can come in from Amazon next week, because none of the auto parts stores carry it. So that took that off nice and clean. Alright, so we got our bushing pretty well botched and butchered and tinkered with. Had to get a little aggressive to whittle it down enough on the outside. The inside diameter was great, outside diameter wouldn't quite go in here. So we're gonna try this though. We've got a pretty good chunk whittled away. Got it WD'd up. I'm gonna stick it on here and try and just press it in. All right, we got our bushing pressed in there, fitted. Now we need to wiggle this cable back underneath, and you might have to just trust me because you can't really see what I'm doing right now. So get in here a little closer so they can see it. So we got the linkage on, but this bushing, because it's not the right bushing, has a back on it, and the rod is longer than the bushing, so it's hitting on it. So I'm just gonna take the razor blade and try and slit the back so it can push all the way in, lock into place, and then we should be good. Yep. Just enough so that the rod can push through the tip of the bushing. Yep, there we go. Did you see that little snap? It just popped into place. It is in there. Get it back into its little hole here. Here's this piece goes back in. All right, so we got this thing pushed in. Got it in place. We got this pushed back down. That holds the cable in place. Now it seems like we are going through all the gears like normal. You can see our linkage is in here and nice and tight and sturdy in place. There's this little snap sticking out, get that? Yep, it's locked in there, bushing's in. I think we're good to go. I don't see that popping off easy. So we should be all set. And let's throw this thing back about in the middle here. Line all this stuff back up. Bring it back. Push it down. Bring it up. Slide it into place. There we go. That locks in. That covers and hides the end of that cable. nice and secure there. We need to bring our center console piece back out. We'll tilt it over to this side so you can see we got to plug everything back in. So your big bar here is for your four-wheel drive. Your smaller gray one here goes right there on the traction control knob. Let's pull our shifter all the way up and out. This just kind of slots in. Looks like it sits over a ridge right here. See that ridge up top? This has a little lip on it. Stick it on that lip, angle it back, and then it'll just wedge into place. It clips in. Trim piece here goes over the cup holder beverage area. Just like this. Boom. Sweet. And there you have it as a quick and dirty. That'll get you back going, get that linkage fixed. I highly recommend just buying the actual $8 bushing online. I had to do a bunch of shaving and cleaning up on that wiper linkage. But if you're in a pinch and you have to, that will work. Process is exactly the same if you have the real part. But that got it back up and going. Things shifting great and back on the road. So we'll see you next time when we do more stuff.